Hi, this is Ed Amoroso, and welcome back to Tag Talk. This is our video series where I'm giving you what I hope is good, solid, unbiased guidance, not just on vendors, but also on cybersecurity. Not a lot of places on the internet, certainly not on YouTube, where you can get this kind of thing. When I look at the security content that I see, particularly online, I don't know, a lot of it's kind of trite, incorrect, coming from people who may be very well intentioned, but don't have a lot of experience because you need some experience to really see what's going on. And that's what I'm hoping that I can bring to you, particularly if you work in the industry. If you work in cyber, you work in IT, you work in networking, this is definitely the place for you. So today I want to talk about a company called Abnormal Security. They're in the email security space. And I tell you, make a little joke here. When I first started describing this company a few years ago and how they were using behaviors and analytics to kind of drive good, solid decisions around email security, I used to say this is a very big deal, and people would agree. Now, there's so much of this going on that when I describe what's happening, sometimes it's like, big deal. So, little different sort of interpretation of kind of the same activity. So let's start with the agreement here that if you're doing tech, you better be comfortable with disruption. And this is an area where I see disruption being pretty prominent, being cloud email. Let's go back. Like there was a time when a company called McAfee came in and disrupted what we were doing in old S-MIME email. And then Proofpoint came along and disrupted McAfee. And then Abnormal comes along and disrupts Proofpoint. And it goes on and on and on with this whole chain. As I think should be evident in my discussion here, I think the disruption will not stop. And AI is going to be the culprit here. But we'll get to that. I want to first off say a few things about the company because we did do a report here that later on I'll provide the link to. You can go off and read what we've said in our writing about Abnormal. But first off, if you are doing cloud email right now, which means probably Microsoft or Google, then you have that weird kind of situation where you're dealing with a monster company. These are companies that are worth trillions of dollars, and yet when you buy their product, you have to buy another thing to secure it. It's kind of weird when you look at it in that perspective, but whatever. I think the first point I would make is Abnormal is an excellent choice for this. In fact, probably could call them the industry leader in cloud email security today in 2025. So they're definitely a leader. If you're dealing with them, you're getting a good, solid product with good founders. They're well funded. It's an awesome company. So today, if you choose them, it would be hard to imagine choosing much better. But that said, kind of the second point is there are a lot of alternatives. This is a crowded space. There's companies like Cofense and Mimecast and Inky and others, and I just go on and on, know before that do some similar things. So there are options. It's not like this is sort of one company that you would just go do. But again, that competition has fueled a lot of innovation. They've each made each of these companies have made each other better, and we do get pretty good service. The third thing is that I think it's obvious that with, say, cloud email security, that we may have leveled off to some degree in terms of, say, take rates at the upper and mid market. Maybe there's still some take rates in the lower markets, but I think expansion into other areas, particularly SaaS, make a lot of sense for companies like Abnormal and their competitors. So these are kind of the themes we see and the things we've been writing about. But now let me get to the real message here. And this might be really tough for a lot of people in this industry to take. But look, AI is going to change the equation here. I mean, there's an old joke. If you ask AI, how do we get rid of human disease? What does the AI say? Get rid of the humans, right? That's the joke. Well, if you ask AI, how do we get rid of email security problems, it might have the same answer, just get rid of email. And if you think about it, we are so close to that. We're close to this idea that all of these things that a company like Abnormal helped to invent, meaning watching your behavior, knowing your contacts, knowing the business you're in, knowing the style of what you do. Once I know all of that, yes, I can provide security, but guess what? I could also just do your freaking email. And if the AI, or say some agentic AI, takes over that function, I don't really understand where the email security industry goes at that point. I mean, there's a lot of different options. One is it veers off into maybe making sure there's no malware and agentic AIs doing our email. That'd be a great decision, but different business. Another is they muddle along. Maybe there's still a hybrid of humans and agentic, and there's still a need for someone to be providing email security to avoid, say, phishing. But a third possibility is this whole industry just goes away. I mean, look, as an analyst, it's my job to be looking ahead, because who the heck else is? Vendors are not going to tell you that. And from an enterprise perspective, you're so worried about today's budget that, what's happening in 5 years is just blow your mind, even spend 2 seconds thinking about it. But it's what I do. And I'm telling you that what's happening here is that the email is going to go away. Probably sooner than later. So let's keep that in mind as we make decisions here. As I said, this is a wonderful company, very well run, good product. If you're looking for something today, Abnormal is a wonderful choice. There are options. But that said, as we look forward, I really do believe that there's going to be big changes in this industry. We have to be looking forward to that. So with that, I hope you'll like the video. I hope you subscribe to our channel. It helps us kind of know you're there. We're not just counting subscribers and clicks. We could care less about that. But it does help us know that we're connecting. This is a third or fourth in this series, and we're watching things start to grow. It's very exciting. Help us keep that growing. Just go ahead and click, and as we see it go up, we'll know you're listening. So I'll look forward to talking to you on the next one.